I hope Derek Carr enjoyed the prosciutto and the mozzarella. A little veal out there in Florham Park as well. I also hope he doesn't come back.
Well, come on.
I'm all on Rodgers. Listen, I think this is an incredibly... the last couple days have been really interesting for the Jets. And they've got to navigate this timeline where not everything intersects. There's guesswork, there's due diligence. But Tiki, for me, it's always come down to really 5 basic components. Number 1, does Aaron Rodgers want to keep playing? Yes. He's going to keep playing. Number 2, are the Packers amenable to moving on? You see the reports this weekend? Yeah. They're ready to move on.
They want him to move on.
Correct. Number 3, does he view the Jets as a legit option? I don't see how he can't. Number 4, will Woody spend? Yes. He already told us that. And number 5, can the Jets and the Packers agree on comp? This is not about Derek Carr's a good player. Derek Carr's could be really good in some spots. I'm still all in on Rodgers.
This weekend,
all in.
This weekend, Derek Carr visited Florham Park, hanging out with Robert Saleh. From what I hear, he went to Fiorino, which is in Summit, New Jersey. Probably had, you're right, some mozzarella, some linguine, some mozzarella, linguine and clams. I said it close to. I'm nowhere near Italian. I'm not half Italian like you. Some linguine and clams.
He
probably had
looks like a healthy eater.
He probably had like veal Milanese or something. Who knows what he actually had? But from what I heard, it went well.
Of course it went well.
I mean, how can you not like Florham Park, New Jersey? It's a beautiful part of the country, but more importantly, if he went to the Jets facility and spent any time with Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas, and they just looked at the roster, Derek Carr had to say, oh, Garrett Wilson? Oh, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's 2 running backs. Oh, I kind of like that guy. Oh, you get these couple really good offensive linemen. Oh, I like that guy. Oh, this defense is one of the top 5 defenses in football. I kind of like that. And by the way, just as an aside, a week ago, you mentioned how Derek Carr has never played with any top defenses in Oakland / Las Vegas.
Never had a top 20.
Never had a top 20. So the advanced stats have come out backing up exactly what you were talking about. And this is things that Derek Carr doesn't control. Defense and special teams. When you do these advanced metrics in football, there's one called EPA, which is expected points per attempt. As far as it pertains to defense and special teams, since Derek Carr came into the league, the Raiders have been dead last. Dead last. So you're right. I know people don't love Derek Carr, but if I'm the Jets, I can't wait for Aaron Rodgers because Derek Carr could go someplace else, and then you're stuck with nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
You're stuck with nothing.
That's a risk I'm willing to take.
I almost kind of felt like if I was a Jets fan, I'm not, but I'm viewing this situation from a Jets fan's perspective.
Yes.
Don't let Derek Carr leave Florham Park, right? Show him another restaurant. Show him, I don't know, someplace else to hang out, whatever.
You got to show him a good church because you know he's going there.
Yeah,
show him the churches.
There are plenty
Let's
of
go.
them. Do not let Derek Carr leave because I don't think you can put your eggs in the basket of Aaron Rodgers, and it just feels so uncertain with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, and there's certainty with Derek Carr?
Well, there's certainty that he wants to be here.
How do you know that?
Potentially wants to be here.
How do we know he's not just playing the Jets for somebody else?
Yeah, because he's a free agent.
I don't think Derek Carr wants to come to New York, New Jersey.
He can do whatever he wants, Derek Carr.
I don't think he wants to.
He could go back and visit the Saints again. He could go
visit the Panthers will be on the docket at some point. Yeah.
Buccaneers. There's tons of them.
The Giants, when they lose Daniel Jones, got a new agent.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there yet. But look, there are a ton of places he could go.
For sure.
The first place he chose to visit. Think about it. The first place he chose to visit when he was fully a free agent, not when it's like, okay, you got permission to go talk to the Saints.
Because that was the Saints, yeah.
Fully free agent.
Yep.
He comes to the New York Jets.
Yes.
I think that's telling you something.
Okay, 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the fan inside of our Town Fair Tire studio on this holiday Monday. I always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. I got to tell you, I almost lost my mind listening to the station over the weekend.
Why?
The lunacy that I'm hearing from callers. Now, you just said you're not a Jets fan, but if you were.
Yeah.
Well, I got news for you. I am. So I actually think that it's a little unique coming from my perspective.
Was this the Pete Hoffman show?
No, I don't listen to that show. Are you kidding me? Pete Hoffman show. Why the hell would I listen to that?
Just kidding, Pete.
I love you, Hop. Dove in the house as well. Listen, what I heard, this was a popular refrain. Well, Derek Carr's just going to cost you money. Okay, that's true, by the way. No comp. You know, how much you want? What do we have? What do we agree? Boom, there's the contract.
Yes.
Rodgers will cost money, and a lot of it, and comp. Okay, but the way it was positioned by so many people over the weekend on this station, it was, to me, too much emphasis on the fact that it's just money and not enough, Derek Carr is a killer. Derek Carr is awesome. Derek Carr would thrive here. When you, again, it's like picking out of a characteristic of somebody that you might marry, and it's a good one, but it's not the best one. All right, that's why you're going to get down on one knee? All right, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, but
I'm looking for something a little bit more.
But here's the reality.
I want the best player available, and that player is Rodgers.
Here's the reality.
Period.
Though. Aaron Rodgers.
It ain't close.
But the situation is not predictable. I think it's more predictable with Derek Carr, meaning forget what happens once he's actually here and he's on the field, and like we can talk about all that when it actually happens, but the Jets need to upgrade at quarterback. We know that. And whether that is instead of or short-term in lieu of Zach Wilson, that's another conversation. But right now, the Jets need an upgrade. And you can't sit and wait for Aaron Rodgers to come out of his darkness, his darkness therapy, and maybe decide he wants to come to the New York Jets. We have no indication. He's never said, the New York Jets are certainly my top destination. We don't know that.
But
that's
he talked
the case.
glowingly about the roster when he was on McAfee. I didn't hear him running down the Raiders roster.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think that matters.
You and I talk glowingly about the roster.
We're also on New York.
True, but anybody would talk glowingly about the Jets roster right now. So
that's why I think it's appealing.
You get asked but you get asked the question about the Jets roster, you're going to say, it's a pretty damn good roster.
Yeah, that's right.
If you said anything other than that, you'd be lying.
No, listen, I get it. There's a notion out there, too, and I think this needs to be dispelled. Now, if he comes here, it will ultimately be proven out. But let me at least attempt to preemptively dispel this, okay? There's a thought out there, like if Aaron Rodgers comes to the determination, I want the New York Jets, do you think that he's going to come here, not be engaged, not be in great shape, and not be and not be razor sharp? Like, there's some people out there who are saying, I don't know if he's really all in on football anymore. Listen, he's quirky, he's weird, he's aloof, whatever other word you want to use to describe him. There's no doubt he is that, and he's those things. He's also one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And when you're that great at anything, you're not going out there to embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
So whatever, he was 5 or 6 pounds heavier last year in Green Bay. You start to hear that a lot. He wasn't in great shape, wasn't incredibly engaged. If he decides it's the Jets, it is go time.
But don't you think that if the Jets go get Aaron Rodgers, you have the same conversation every year for the next however many until he decides to hang it up? All right, you put yourself in a position to get a taste. Maybe fall short. Who knows?
Yeah, no guarantees. I get it.
You get a taste.
I get it.
And then it's over.
Sure. There's also the possibility that Derek Carr signs here, and a year in, we're like, he's not that guy.
Mm-hmm. Or he's done. He's washed up, whatever it may be.
No, I'm talking about Derek Carr.
Yeah.
No, not that he'd be washed up after a year, but, maybe we overestimated what he could be. Maybe as we tried to extrapolate things from his stint with Oakland and Vegas as reasons to maybe elevate him to a spot that he doesn't really reside in yet, although he's obviously a very good player. There's a lot of deductions going on with a better defense, with better special teams, with a better roster, with more stable coaching. Yeah, and those things probably will equate to him being a better player. But again, I'm swinging for the fence, man. Sometimes a nice stand-up double is sweet. Sometimes you got to go for the top tank. And the top tank is Rodgers, because you're not going into Arrowhead. You're not going up to Buffalo. You're not going to Cincinnati with that weather. And I don't want to overreact his record in the cold. Mm-hmm. It's part of it for me. It's not all of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's an issue until it's not.
Here's the other thing, too. I really think, and I get it, that the timing it's almost unfair to the Jets. Like, they've got to navigate this in a sublime manner. If they mess this up, any calculation, they're done.
Yeah.
But here's the one thing why I'm not worried. I believe they got Jimmy G in their back pocket. No, but seriously. So everybody's telling me, well, and I get it. I understand this thought because it's logical. If you don't secure Carr and make him feel that love, and he goes elsewhere, and Rodgers does something wacky, and you don't get Rodgers, well, where the hell do you go? And my answer is Jimmy G.
Yeah.
And to me, there's not much of a fall-off between Derek Carr and Jimmy G. So I'll take the swing for Rodgers.
Until somebody comes in with a full press on Jimmy G, because they're also desperate. There's a lot of teams. We hit this last week regarding Daniel Jones, to be honest with you. While we thought that there's going to be some teams that may want to overpay for Daniel Jones. And again, we'll get to Daniel Jones later. He switched agents, and what does that mean? We'll talk about it in a little bit. But there are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, and Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be a free agent as well. Mm-hmm. And so Jimmy G could get a full court press from a lot of different people. So to just stick him in your back pocket if you're the Jets, I think that's that's not guaranteed.
Listen, that's fine. It's all part of the calculation, and you've got to lean on intel and relationships. And I'm of the mindset now, Teak, that the Jets have at least a modicum of intel, like the wind. Now, I'm not talking 20-mile-per-hour gusts, but there's a little 5 or 6 mile per hour wind if you give it a nice sniff. You can kind of tell what Rodgers is. I think that they have a sense.
Well, we know that they've talked to the Packers, right?
About comp and general parameters.
So
about a week and a half or so ago.
They've had a little bit of intel with Aaron Rodgers via the Packers. They've actually had meetings with Derek Carr.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Garoppolo, in theory, probably has some sort of relationship with Robert Saleh.
Definitely.
Right? So there's intel on everybody except for Aaron Rodgers and what he
unless
what
you
he,
think
what
that
he wants
Hackett's
to do.
providing the intel, which I think is a huge piece of the puzzle.
I don't know. Hackett's not reaching out to him when he's in his,
How do you know?
his dark room.
I mean, before that. Yeah, not his hole.
His dark hole.
Not his hole.
Whatever the hell he's doing
It's
over
just amazing to me for such a pitiful franchise. And I know that they're moving in a better direction now. But historically, losers, the Jets. As big a loser as you can be. When you really think about it. The Jets are the biggest losers in this city.
Stop.
No, they have been.
I mean.
No, they have been. I don't even need to debate it. They have been. So having said that, you have a chance to get Aaron Rodgers. I'm not talking about the franchise now. I'm talking about the fans, us, who have bore the brunt of the losing ways. I don't know. He's a little weird. He's a little different. I don't know if I want to mess around with Rodgers. Are you out of your mind? I want Aaron Rodgers. I want him. You can take Derek Carr to a Broadway show tonight. You can take him wherever you want to take him. I want Rodgers. 877-337-6666. I was in darkness this weekend as well, and I emerged with the same thought I've had since day one. I want Rodgers. All right, Mikey, Staten Island. What's happening, Mike? How are you?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay,
What's
pal.
up, man?
Just to piggyback off what you guys are saying, let me just preface my point with the reason I'm mentioning this person is because I feel like all of the guys that you guys are talking about aren't even going to ultimately be available to us because there's so many other teams with potentially more stable situations or whatever the case may be, not being the Jets, they'll ultimately land these guys. So with that said, I think that out of the bottom feeders that are left, people mention Tannehill as a viable option. I'd rather have Baker Mayfield, to be honest with you, at this point. And the reason I say that,
wait, Mike. Baker Mayfield over everybody?
No.
Okay.
No. I just said.
I got you.
You mean if they land
over Tannehill?
If they land nobody. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like if Rodgers is gone,
Gotcha.
Jimmy G's gone,
Yep.
Carr ends up going to the Saints or
you're
whatever.
probably right.
You know what I'm saying?
I could probably muster agreement with you simply because if everybody's gone and you need somebody to compete with Zach, who has been a viable starter in the league.
Yep.
Baker makes sense because he's got moxie, man.
Yeah, he does.
And
I don't think it's crazy to say that.
And he's proven. I think he proved this last year in Carolina. He can be a good teammate if he's not the guy, right? We saw it. Like he's headbutting guys. He's in street clothes. He's headbutting dudes on the sideline. Like he can be a good teammate, but more importantly, it gives Zach a chance to potentially beat him out.
I don't think that's the best situation. I don't know if you want to have Baker and Zach in the same quarterback. Where are we going with that?
That's my problem with it.
Geez.
Is if Zach beats out Baker.
I'd take Tannehill and Zach, but I don't even want Tannehill. But the age dynamic, that's important.
What do we say?
Zach,
right? And then it's a waste of signing Baker Mayfield. So I hear you. I could muster some enthusiasm for that, but it would mean a lot of, I think, ugliness is happening in that quarterback room.
877-337-6666. Let's go to Brick, New Jersey. What's happening, Rich? You're on Tiki and Tierney. How are you?
T, what's going on?
Hey,
what
bud.
Are you smoking?
What's up, What's the matter?
Hear me out.
Go ahead.
3 reasons. Number one and foremost, what has Aaron Rodgers won in the past 9-10 years after he won the Super Bowl?
2 MVPs.
All righty. But I'm talking about playoffs, Super Bowls, and stuff like that.
Yeah, no team.
Number 2.
I mean, he got to the championship game twice. So he just can't get past.
I want to hear number 2 since
go
number
ahead.
1 was
Keep
so
going.
easy to
Keep
answer.
going.
Go ahead. Number 2.
Your draft capital.
Yes.
The most important part of that team that Douglas is going to need is that draft capital. Now, if you are going to, let's say that's going to cost 2 number 1 picks and maybe
It's not.
second.
It's not.
As well.
But it's not. It's not going to cost that much. It's not.
Wouldn't you want to up it a little bit for someone who's younger, more proven, and then just go in all in and talk to Baltimore for Lamar Jackson?
Lamar. I mean, that is okay, Ritz. That really should be number 1. I mean, that's a different consideration. I don't think it's plausible. Now, if there's a report, if there's some stuff trickling out that Jets, they're kind of he's got a relationship with Baltimore and he's quietly crafting this plan to maybe lure Jets. That's different. Then Rodgers could take a hike.
Yeah.
Because now it's youth, it's upside, it's electricity. That's different.
But I have to caveat this like I always do. John Harbaugh would be insane to not want Lamar Jackson.
Is it his decision, though, at the end of the day?
That's a good
I don't
question.
think he was on the hot seat 2 years ago,
You're
John.
right. It's probably not. But what are you doing at quarterback if Lamar Jackson's not in Baltimore right now?
Yeah.
I mean, you're restarting. You're trying to find someone to draft, but you're not in any position to draft a kid. Mm-hmm. And
well, they weren't in position to draft Lamar. They got him 32nd, if you think about it.
Yeah, but that was Ozzie doing great Ozzie stuff.
Yeah, that was the last gift that he bestowed upon them. That's true.
You'll thank me.
Yeah, true. I think you have to look at the roster as well, which we always, point to because you would think that it's appealing to Rodgers and everybody else. But, see, I almost see it the other way. Like, when Rich calls up and he prefaces everything with, do you really want to invest everything in a 39-year-old player who, you don't really know where his head's at, whatever. I actually think you almost have to go that route now because eventually these guys are getting paid. Quinn is getting paid this offseason. Sauce eventually getting paid.
Yeah.
I mean, Garrett Wilson eventually getting paid.
Yeah.
These guys are getting paid.
Yeah, now you got
AVT getting paid.
You got 4 more seasons, but it's going to come quick.
So you have to try to win now. Now, I'm not saying by trying to win now you just so cavalierly throw everything out the window, take this, take that. No, there's limits to what I would give Green Bay. But that's it. To me, Rodgers absolutely must be target number 1.